impressive is Tanner Leggett these past 2 days or whatever?
It's been really good. I'm more pleased with the defense. I think that's 2 home runs is great, but the defensive plays today were really special.
He's played at different spots in the infield, but do you feel like he can be pushing for that shortstop spot?
Yeah, he can. He can play everywhere. So he can play center field too. He has a little bit of. He's just one of those guys that can play everywhere. So he is pushing, and that's probably one of my hardest decisions right now I'm dealing with is him. And he's really good players, but they force your hand, and so he's pushing.
With him being a senior, is that experience that he's got help?
I think so. I think his experience he went through last year really helped him, and he's been really good for us. The fall he had a good fall, and then spring training he struggled a little bit offensively, but he's been good since we started the real games.
What did you think of Jackson Fisto today?
I thought he was good. 3 pitches for strikes, and kind of a tough day. We wanted to get him a little more pitches, so we kind of ran him down to the bullpen afterwards and tried to throw a simulated inning after we took him out. Once we realized it would probably be a shortened game because we wanted Andrew and Pico to get in also.
Speaking of Pico, Pico went out and threw strikes for you. How would you assess his Bulldog debut?
Pico was really good. He, him just, he's very talented. We had saved him for Sunday to pitch against some of the, left-handers in that Long Beach State lineup, and then we really had him and Jackson left, and then we didn't need him. So being able to put him, tough midweek matchup if you're the other team to have those 3 guys pitch today.
Maybe some nervous from Andrew in his debut?
I guess. Just got to throw more strikes. He came out, had great warm-ups. First couple of pitches were good and kind of got out of it. And then, but we just didn't want him to get into a big jam.
What's your outlook for Jackson? Do you think he can work into the weekend rotation, or do you like him midweek? What's your thoughts?
Definitely. I think they're all competing for it. We still have guys competing for, weekend, midweeks, bullpens. They've all just pretty much most of the guys have been out there once now. So as we reassess and start to go through, and we'll see a lot more this weekend.
You talked about Aaron Downs being offensive in the spring. Can we expect to see him fairly soon?
Yeah, you'll probably see him this weekend at some point, I would imagine.
You're always a guy that talks about competition, and doesn't hurt things when you have your, backup middle infielders go out there and hit tanks today. There's probably a little smug satisfaction with that. I know that people know you're willing to change a lineup, but how does that kind of reinforce the point for you?
No, it's a running joke, and the 2 smallest guys in the dugout are leading the team in home runs. So that's the guys are having it, but our position players know. Last year we had a little more competition on the pitching staff. This year it's a little more on the position player side. So there's some inner battles going on there between those guys, and they know they got to show up every day, or there's a really good guy behind them that can take their spot.
How much of a luxury is it for you to be able to know that you can put Tanner in different spots in the field?
It's huge. It's a huge piece. He can do a lot of different things, and I kind of have that in Drew McGowan in the outfield. We kind of got some guys that can really do some different things. It gives you some flexibility.
Speaking of Drew, he came in for Kellum the other day. Kellum's had kind of a tough start. Today he had a hard hit ball, a double play. What have you seen from him in practices and in the first few games so far?
From Drew?
Kellum.
Yeah, Kellum's just, had a couple tough at-bats. Played good defensively. I thought he took 2 good swings today. Kellum's a really good player, and he'll play a lot of baseball here. Just trying to get him going a little bit. Hitting strikes. He needs to he's just trying to do a little too much right now.
How do you balance, sitting those guys and letting them watch and letting them work it out at the plate?
It sucks. Yeah, it's really hard because you have a lot of faith in them, but you also got to win games at the same time. And also sometimes when they're playing bad and just keeping them in there, it's not good for them. Sometimes it's good to step away from it, get a different perspective, and then they're able to get back in there and give you some help. So he's really talented. And we've seen it before, and he was probably our best hitter this past fall. He just got to get going a little bit.
What have you seen, I guess, from Lane? I know we've been talking about Tanner, but Lane, I think he's got a couple hits the last couple games, but he's also got 4 or 5 strikeouts this year. What are you kind of seeing from him at the plate that maybe he could improve on a bit?
Yeah, just, jumping on some fastballs probably. I would think that's the biggest thing. You're the 9-hole, they come at you. So hopefully he can get going here a little bit. So he's such a good defender. It'd be nice to get him going offensively.
You guys had the time moved up to get this game in. How important was it to get this game in with the weather?
It was huge because they came from New Orleans, so they came from their weekend trip. So we would just back it up to Wednesday, but they couldn't come on Wednesday. So for us to find a window, 2 days ago we weren't sure we had a window, and be able to get this game in was huge.
Back to my question that I asked about, the decision that you make, sitting a player, letting them work through it. Is that on a player-by-player basis, and you just kind of knowing their personality, or how do you kind of address that?
It's on a player by player basis.